All right, welcome back. Okay, so another couple of teams that play this weekend were the Chiefs and Browns, and the Chiefs did walk away with a small lead victory over the Browns. Sam, do you want to start that one off?
Yeah. Um, I would say when it comes to Patrick Mahomes, never bet against him if he does not have an offensive line. Now, I would say this: the Browns came out of the game playing great. Was ahead of the Chiefs, but you still had it like Patrick Mahomes got something up his sleeve that he's going to be able to come back.
Got
And
secrets.
and um, both teams play good. I think Hunt played great. I would just say that you were hoping that the Browns at the end of the game, because they had got the chance to be able to um, win the game, and then Baker Mayfield on time come with that is going to come with that turnover at the very end and just um, lose the game. And granted, you know, people want to say that they didn't. People want to say, "Oh, give Baker credit." I'll give Baker credit, but you know what? Honestly, I knew it was going to happen. I knew that he was going to throw an interception. In big moments, he does that. Okay. And last year he came against the Steelers, but let's be honest about the Steelers. Let's be honest about the Steelers. The Steelers were not at a great place when they came into the playoffs. When you can go 11-0 and then lose the rest of your games, you are not looking as a hopeful in the playoffs. Okay, so they played a cripple Steeler mentally, who was crippled mentally um, going into that playoff game, and then you know, um, it's they played a good game against Kansas City in the playoffs too, and it was very close. When Patrick Mahomes got injured, and then they brought in the backup, and he actually ran for a first down to seal the win. So, granted, it just seems like the Chiefs have Baker's number. You either knew it was going to be either going to be an interception or it's going to be another turnover. Either way, you knew it was going to happen. He freezes on big stages.
Yeah. Well, that's we saw last year in the Super Bowl with Tampa Bay and Kansas City. People can say what they want about Kansas City. Offensive line's hurt. They do all that, but they're still a good enough team to have success. Um, but their Achilles heel is consistency, right? If they're playing a team that can consistently cause them just a little bit of issues, Kansas City kind of will struggle in there. And Cleveland kind of had some of that consistency at the beginning of the game, but the mistake was, or not, I couldn't call it a mistake. It's just like the poor execution where you win an entire quarter where Kansas City scores and you don't. So it's like in third quarter where Kansas City gets 10, you get nothing.
I mean that's
That's
the game right there, right? That
yeah,
one quarter really is the final moment, you know? All you had to do is make one six or over, what do they need, 4 points or something to win that game? You just need one touchdown. That's it. And you got 15 minutes to do so. Like,
even that. I mean, it could be said that, you needed a field goal because, well, I know I know how math works, right? But at the time, having another
take
field
that
goal.
time away and
Well, no, it's not even take time. It changes what the offense has to do because now in their mind, maybe they're like, well, one of the field goals we kick, well, we can't do that. We have to score. So they try and score, don't get it instead of kicking it, and things like that. And it's
it's a risk strategy proposition.
yeah, but you have to. I mean, with Kansas City is human, very very human.
Mm-hmm.
Mahomes is good, still human. If you can have that consistency, you got a shot. And actually you got more than a shot. But You take a you literally, if you just can't have it, you lose consistency for every other drive, you're just gonna get murdered, because now you're in a spot where you have to have your offense, right, keep up with their offense. And that's going to be a hard one to do. So your offense has to maintain consistency and get something. Don't need to keep up. Not at least, what I mean is like drive for drive. Like you don't have to keep up, especially when you kind of build yourself up a lead. You're doing good. But when you find yourself into that, like, hey, we've gone an entire quarter without scoring, it's everybody, and they know that it's hard, right? And so that's where it becomes like now you're playing even when you're still in a good spot score wise, you start playing like you're playing from behind because you know who you're playing. And you know the good news is I think the Browns are going to have a good year, which is definitely nice. But yeah, I don't. They're not. Mayfield's good. Like don't get me wrong, it's he's a good quarterback, but um, the team and him are going to have to do better to step up to that stage where they can compete an entire game, to because they're gonna have to when you're playing, the Chiefs, you play the Ravens, you play the big teams like that, especially like Buccaneers, all that. You got to play the entire game because if you take it off somewhere in the middle of the game, that's all they need. And I just it's kind of the same feeling that we had last year with the Browns where they would do like you said, ran for the first, backup quarterback runs for the first down. You just end up in that feeling of you did everything right that you needed to, except for that one thing. And unfortunately, that
Big thing, unfortunately.
yeah, that was
It
the
was
one.
the thing you needed to do, actually.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like that's when you get to the top level of football, consistency is the key, and that's the hard part. Is that's what makes good teams separate themselves from great teams. Is great teams they're more consistent. That's it. But
Well,
it'll be fun watching.
uh, I do want to segue real quick and talk about another team that spent a couple of quarters not scoring. Let's talk about the Green Bay Saints game because that was, I'm not sure what that was.
I don't know what that was either. That was a dumpster fire that was pushed down a big hill into a tire gasoline factory. Um, look, I don't even know how to describe it, but like it looked like when with Aaron Rodgers playing, like came out it was okay, but after that first interception, or even it just seemed like he just came out and was rattled. Whether this is a distraction because of the offseason stuff, he's on that tail end where because we've seen other quarterbacks do that where they're great and then next year they're not. Right. What this is hopefully is just, like a little bump in the road and we'll be fine. But as much as in the past as his, relax, I'd be like, nah, I hope you can spell freak out because that's what you need to be doing right now because it's not like, I might feel different. I might feel different if Drew Brees was playing. He wasn't. So you get a team that's in transition, but still a good team. They still have a solid football team. They just need to work out, basically the culture and getting the rhythm of flow. And you come out and you put up that big of an egg. Because it's not like, oh, you lost 38 to 24 or 38 to 3. I mean,
But I mean, that sounds like NFL versus high school team.
that's a score. That's the score that you expect to see when a good or great team plays a bad team. And so what you're looking at right now is everybody looking at Green Bay and saying, please don't tell us that all of a sudden you guys are a bad team because you've basically been, I don't call it necessarily a powerhouse, but you've been relevant consistently for a long time. And so
And potentially just based on timing, maybe on the cusp of something great. And so to go way the other way, it's like, wait, hold on, that's not what we talked about.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. Aaron Rodgers seems a little too relaxed, laissez-faire. It's like too.
Well, and I was gonna bring
But
up, I mean, obviously, unless he has an intention of retiring and just doesn't care, I wonder if the issues in the off season are more deep than maybe we want to believe, and he's struggling with, really being invested.
It has to be.
Well,
If you have something that works, why, if you have something that works and you change it, why wouldn't you expect to get different results?
I
So
would say this. I would say this that I think that what happened was Aaron Rodgers found out that Jake from State Farm gave Jameis Winston the same discount, and he got so upset that he was just like, you know what, forget this game. You know what? You gave him my discount.
All is lost.
yeah, but yeah, Winston played that was very, very, very promising. Very promising. It's because I'll be honest and say this was another one where because of the change, you didn't just lose a quarterback. You lost Drew Brees. You lost your team. Like you retired, right? Um, if the score was the other way around, that would be more like, yeah, okay, that's reasonable. But the
He's
Saints are
new,
getting
it's
improved.
fine.
Yeah, it's really one of those nothing to worry about. They just need more time to solidify. Um, but they didn't. They basically came out and were like, yeah, we're solid, we're good. Hey guys, we're just gonna go down here and play football. We'll see
You
you
keep
later.
doing what you're doing. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, so to the stats, it is kind of a Rodgers versus Winston situation. So, I mean, was this a game about the quarterback position?
Well, I would say this. I would say this that let's give Jameis Winston credit that he came out, played his game, and the Saints blew the Packers 38-3. Let's give him his credit because he came out, played his heart out, and he wanted to show out, hey, that I'm a different player from being 2 years ago, being the best offense and defensive player from 2 years ago with 33 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. He came out and said, "Hey, you know, I'm a whole different quarterback. I'm, going to do whatever to help my team win." I think he even had a couple of running plays. He did. He ran. He threw. He didn't throw any interceptions at all. So, and I think that is a you can give that up to, as far as him paying attention to Drew Brees and learning the system and working with Sean Payton, because Sean Payton is also a great coach, offensive, a great head coach too, but a great offensive coach too. So, um, when I looked at the game, I just looked at it that, hey, the Packers came out kind of stale, and you know, people can blame it off of the off season of Aaron Rodgers and everything else, but just like probably maybe 3, maybe 4 years ago, maybe it was 5 years ago that Aaron Rodgers told the press, "Relax, we can run this. If we run this through, then we can make it to the playoffs." And that's exactly what Aaron Rodgers did. He did what he said. They ran the table and they made the playoffs. So I think of Aaron Rodgers just looking at this like, okay, it's one game. Go ahead with the memes. Go ahead with the jokes and everything else. At the end of the day, I'm gonna show you. Hopefully not against my Cowboys. But
Well, you bring up a good
like
point. If you're gonna throw up if you're gonna throw up an egg, week one is a very, very good time to do that. And the things I don't know. This one here is really one of those where what Winston threw for 15 more yards than Aaron Rodgers did. Less attempts, significantly more touchdowns when you go from 0 to 5, and less interceptions for 2 to 0. But um,
I mean,
let's
in every respect, really, the Saints played better than Green Bay, though.
yeah, and they did, and then one of the bigger areas to pay attention to is what you have 160, 170-ish rushing yards versus what, like 45?
Yeah, 43 versus 171.
Yeah, and that is a hard that's a hard
Yeah.
one to overcome because because if you look at Aaron Rodgers, you look at any quarterback, your quarterback's struggling, what do? You run the ball, get the pressure off of him, you start doing your play action. But if especially with the Packers, they are a team that like their play action. But here's the thing with play action, if you can't run the ball, don't nobody care about your play action because they don't respect the run. They don't have to react to it because you can't do it anyways. So play action is just more time for the defensive ends to get to the quarterback and sack him. It's just so I mean that it's just one of those like all the way around there. They've got to work on some issues and defense quite a bit. But I don't know how you can be what's the word? Like this is one of those like, you say in order to win a football game, to guarantee winning a football game, you need to win in all phases of the game. This was the exact opposite of that, where it's like we're going to lose in all phases of the game, and that's how blowouts happen. But as Sam said, this isn't for these guys. This isn't the first time going through this. It is just another game. I guarantee it's Tuesday, especially being week 1. Well, they forgot about that game yesterday, right? They're going to be going back to work tomorrow, getting ready for next weekend. And
Do over.
yeah, I would expect to see a different team next weekend. If we
I
don't,
hope so.
that's a bigger problem. And don't get me wrong, as much as it's like I'm not a Green Bay fan, but I like Green Bay, and I really hope this isn't one of those where Aaron Rodgers has just fallen off, because I just don't want to see him go out like that.
Yeah.
And that's just not. It's not the best way to send somebody off at the end of their career. But it happens. Things happen, and especially with the offseason stuff, even though it wasn't something no yelling matches, but it was still a marked difference in there. And going into this with the thought of everybody still expects, like, no matter what, most people don't expect Aaron Rodgers on the Green Bay Packers next year.
Okay, let's just say this. For anybody that's thinking that Jordan Love is going to take over for Aaron Rodgers, it's not happening, okay? All right, it's not happening. It's not happening at all, okay? Aaron Rodgers, he's going to be good. This is just one game that, he's just going to throw this out, be like, hey, I'll take the hit for this. I'll take the memes and all the other stuff. Give Jameis Winston his credit. He came out, played a great game. He wanted to come out and play a great game after 2 years ago when he laid that egg.
You want to see my impression of Aaron Rodgers right now? Here's my impression of Aaron Rodgers. Oh, this is so terrible. The game just was so bad. Oh, I myself.
Except he would have probably a lot of hundreds. He'll probably have 100.
Yeah, I got some ones. I went to work last night, so I got extra ones.
TMI. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back out with some closing comments.